What is happening, everyone's? We are here. We are back with another episode of
Is my point valid?
Yes, indeed. I am your host, co-host, all of that, Brandon D. Stocker,
And I am Camille A. Stalker.
and we are Stocker Family Values as a collective. Y'all already know what time it is. So to get this episode crunk up, we're gonna go ahead and get into what you know good. So, baby, what you know good?
Nothing. I got nothing. Well, really, I just want to say happy birthday to everybody whose birthday is in October. So happy birthday to y'all.
Oh y'all, yeah,
Give me the clap.
yeah.
You,
Shout out to my daddy. His birthday was on the 9th, so
my nephew too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So happy birthday. Y'all know what they do in the restaurants? Don't do that. Anyhow, that's all I got for what you know good.
All right. We're gonna keep this thing on and rolling on and chugging along
All right.
with today's topic. So let the people know what that's gonna be.
When should you act like a spouse?
Wow.
Dun dun dun.
I'm trying to told you. So a little reference.
Yeah.
Me and my coworker had a conversation the other day about how his wife or his girlfriend
Yeah.
wants to be a wife, but she doesn't act like one.
And then what had happened? You called whom?
You.
Me.
Yeah.
And then what had happened?
It's really just sparked the conversation.
Because I gave you another perspective of something, I think, and it was you were saying the thing, it wasn't even no trigger thing. I think if you would have told me this a couple of years ago, that would have been a trigger. But I was like, okay, let me give it to him this way, because you made a phrase that said, you said wifely duties. And I was like, what are wifely duties? And then you said she doesn't clean, wash, or something else, right? And so I gave you the example of, if I'm not with you, who's gonna wash your clothes? So that's a human duty. You just, then you're gonna laugh. You just so happen to get your clothes washed, not by you, because of our circumstances. Now, if I was a working mother and you are working, who's washing them?
We would have to figure that out.
So there's no thing is like that part, wifely duties, or nowadays, like, I don't know. That was just my thing. Because I really didn't like that. I was like, hold on, no, I'm washing clothes because, it has to be done, but it's not no wifely duty. So when should you act like a spouse? Beforehand?
I feel like you should act like a spouse when you decide you want to be a spouse. So whenever you feel like, if you are strong enough about wanting to be a spouse, you should be strong. You should feel strong enough about acting like one, whether it's whatever the circumstances may be in your relationship, because it's going to be different for everybody.
Absolutely. That's what I was saying.
So,
it's different for us. That's why I'm only speaking for me. I know when we first started dating or whatever, the topic was, the next step was, we want to be married. So it was like, at first it was like, I don't know if he's serious, right? But then as you went along and you start changing how you were moving, it was like, okay, I'm okay with doing this.
So I started acting like a husband.
With doing that because you were serious.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Once you figure out that you're serious about what you want, you need to start acting like it.
But what does that mean? Because here's the thing, I don't know, but there's a saying that says women be out here acting like wives and men still won't marry them, and then they leave that relationship and go act whatever, and then they get married to somebody.
Hey, like I say, all situations are different.
You get what I'm saying? So it's not a a thing of, okay, how do you, and then you also have to think. I think in if we reference the Bible, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But you're supposed to be like how you. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I like when should you start acting like a spouse? What entails with acting like a spouse? That's the question.
Well, I think the
What
conversation
entails?
amongst the two individuals needs to be had and determine what a wife looks like or a husband looks like to
To
y'all.
you.
Yeah. And once y'all figure that out, then you understand how to act like or move like one. So
Okay.
it needs to be a conversation first.
Yes, it should be a conversation. Now, this is the next part. We talking about when should you start acting like a spouse, but you done already produced
Produce what?
a child. So if I wasn't doing these things before you made this this big important thing being happen, how does that play into now all of a sudden? Maybe it's not an all of a sudden type thing, but now we have this child. Now you need to start doing this, you need to start doing that. I wasn't doing that before the baby. What you got?
I don't think that's the same situation.
You don't think that's the same thing?
Not at all. I think that's completely different. I don't think
If you're
that
with me, if I'm your girlfriend, if I'm your girlfriend and we have a child,
hmm
and I'm saying, and it's probably the push of, okay, we have this baby. When you gonna marry me as well? It probably was a push before that as well. But then you're saying, well, you're not doing everything right. Well, nigga, I just had your baby too. So either we ain't or we are. Ah, it's just a question. I mean, because you have to look at it like that, like, and that's a part of. I feel like acting like a spouse anyway. Well, it's not really because of how society is, but what is this? What is the term of acting like a spouse? What is it? What is it?
well, not acting like you by yourself, not acting like you single.
Mm-hmm.
Um, working as a unit.
Mm-hmm. But
Um,
even some spouses don't work as a unit.
well,
You get what I'm saying? Like we're saying this, when should you act like a spouse? A lot of people don't know what that entails. For me and you, we know what that entails because we know what we want. We
and that's why
know
I say
what
you
we're
need to
setting
have a
for ourselves.
conversation so y'all can determine what it looks like for y'all.
And
So you
people ain't
know
having that conversation.
this is true.
People are going into, oh, my boyfriend, it's my boyfriend, it's my girlfriend, and then they'll say, well, this is my fiance, right? But they won't ever move forward. But this is where I'm saying it's okay to live together, it's okay to have babies together,
hmm
but it's not okay to move forward. That's what I'm saying. It's not downplaying anybody who was in those situations or nothing like that. But it's okay to do all those things. I would say those are spousal duties.
Absolutely. But like I say,
To each their own.
yeah, and the conversation has to be had. There needs to be a discussion about what we're doing, where we're going, what this looks like.
Yeah.
Because not having that conversation, there's going to be a miscommunication in the circuit. I mean, in the
But
expectations.
think about how many miscommunications and expectations, and I can say for us, there have been miscommunications with something I didn't understand, something I probably said and you took, to the left, like, oh, and now this is what I from the other day, from something that clicked, which I had been looking at. I was even though we said we talk about things or whatever, I wasn't completely moving like a spouse as a wife. How, Camille? Because there was this point of where I wasn't serving my husband. Ooh, people don't like that servitude part. People
hmm
don't like, oh, I serve, and I didn't like that part because I'm like, I ain't serving no man. Although I'm married to you, I'm not serving you. I'm not doing this because, but then it clicked. look, I don't know, like I told you the other day, I turned 31 and got, but it clicked. And it was, this is, I don't know if you've noticed, I've been serving you more in just small things, and it's because, okay, I'm in this space. This is my husband. I have to serve him because this is what I chose. And because you've always served me. I wasn't doing it. But as I've looked through 7 years, you have always served me in ways that even whether it was big or small, and I didn't pay any attention to it, right?
Mm.
But now I'm saying, oh, just the other day you caught a cramp. I served you in a way that I wouldn't have done that
Before.
before.
Yeah. Before the understanding of what it was.
Right. So it was
So,
like, when should you that whole when should you act like a spouse?
well, I guess
Well,
it,
shit,
it
I
clicks
wasn't.
different. It clicks different for different people.
You get what I'm saying?
But if you are coming to your significant other with it, then you yourself have to understand what you are trying to get yourself into.
Yeah. And because here's the thing. People don't know what marriage is. I didn't know what marriage was. I looked at it, I saw it as, this is somebody I love. Yes, this is somebody I want to be with. But at the time, I was 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was not seasoned. I didn't really know. I mean, I knew a little bit of life, but I didn't know life. I didn't know men. Like, it wasn't, I was not.
And another thing, relationships aren't always what you see growing up.
Absolutely.
So just because your parents live a certain way,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that that's what marriage is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's another disconnect.
Yeah.
Because often we think, oh, my mama and my daddy act like this, so we should too.
Yeah.
But that's not exactly
mimic what I saw.
But you ain't your parents.
Right.
And the times have changed.
Absolutely.
So you have to take all of these things into consideration when you step into this relationship. There, the old school ways of relationships.
That's what I was
that is basically out the door.
That's what I was kind of saying when I brought up the wifely duty part.
Yeah.
Like, that was okay.
The cooking, the
and all
cleaning,
that,
the making your lunch and all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But then but I was talking about you serving me, but then that has been how I have been serving you. But I thought, but now I'm seeing there are
other ways
besides, okay.
Not necessarily better or worse, just different.
Right, different.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Your clothes are going to be clean because, I get it. They're good. 5 times out of 10, there will be a hot minute. There will be
5 times out of 10.
Yeah, 5 days, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But you understand, because I've made it known why it's going to be like, it's the conversation. And so, like you're saying, some people don't.
Yeah.
Some people do not.
Communication.
It's like, when should you start? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's clicking for me now to say, you have a single women and girlfriends serving men who just like, whatever, I'm not appreciative of that. But I know, because of the journey that we have, that everything that I am doing to help, you're appreciating it. And it's like, okay, and then I'm saying I have to look through the journey and be like, okay, I appreciate what he is doing. And I think that's marriage. That's acting like a spouse, appreciating one another, communicating with one another, actually having each other's backs in public. Agree with your spouse in public and come home
in private
and handle that. Everybody doesn't need to see the bad, right? I mean, not everybody don't need to see the good, some of the good that you're doing.
They don't need to see the disagreements or none of that.
Right? So that's acting as a spouse, taking care of one another. Also, I think acting as a spouse is when I say taking care of one another, we have two girls, and for a long time, I have always put this is a conversation, but acting like a spouse, right? Where my girls come before Brandon, I'm wrong because when they gone, I only got Brandon. Like, you get what I'm saying? I have to raise them until they're 18, probably a little longer. But when they hit 18, what I'm gonna do? Me and Brandon's gonna be sitting here
Looking at each
looking
other.
at each other, don't have nothing to say.
No conversation because we ain't been having it. Yeah.
So that's a spouse thing, putting each other first, taking, a lot of people talk about date nights. Are you taking the date nights? Even if it's not a date night out at a restaurant. I think some of our date nights are just sitting on the couch watching TV together and laughing, and me saying something stupid, or doing something stupid, and you look over at me and be like, "This lady is insane, insane in the membrane."
Huh.
But I think those are when you start acting like a spouse, because because God has already prepared you. I think a lot of us are just following what society is saying a spouse should be.
Absolutely.
And once again, I'm just saying, being a spouse is a lot of servitude.
A lot of
Serving.
compromise.
Yeah, a lot of serving. A lot of serving.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I was so against it.
And if you're not ready to serve, you may need to get yourself ready.
Yeah, you have to,
You
because
gonna have
it's a like I was serving my children, but I was not, like, I was kind of being neglectful to my husband. Like, that's not how it is, because y'all, your spouse, it's you and this person,
Mm-hmm.
because you took a vow before Jesus and Christ.
Yeah, you ain't take no vows to your
and
kids.
God. Right. That part. Dang, that was good.
Huh.
We did not take a vow to our children. We made a commitment to each other, and we had them cheering.
But we didn't make a commitment to our
Right.
children.
We made a commitment to each other. Two people from two different entities of of life came together and made a commitment and decided to say, "Hey, we're going to be together. We're going to
Help,
serve, and what else? Love
all that.
each other, because it's a choice. And at the end of the day, this is a choice. And I think people who are not married need to understand that you're making a choice. And if somebody is, to each their own, but if you want to get married and somebody is saying that they don't, you need to think long and hard about that. If you just want to be, a girlfriend, or what are you willing to enhance for your relationship. Yeah, like,
And another thing, also be careful acting like a spouse to your
yeah,
boyfriend,
that's what, yeah,
because they'll automatically expect that in a regular relationship.
right.
So
My old
that
mom.
will that and that's where you have the conversation of, well, if we're this way, why do we need to be married?
Right.
Yeah, but
I tell you.
I tell people like that. I tell people with that mindset, you need to go read your Bible. You need to get in tune with what's really going on and stop looking at what society is telling you is what's up. Because 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, that jump be.
Now, whatever works for you, okay, it works for you. But we're just saying, we got to get back to really understanding
The nitty gritty
of what the
of
Bible
relationships.
entails, what it says,
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, and get back to what a relationship is, what in communication.
Because you're going to use something as a reference. Whether it's your parents, the Bible, society, you just need to have the right reference when you get into whatever you get into.
And you should not use your parents. You should not use society. You should figure out, as me being Camille and Brandon being Brandon, I have to bring, hey, this is who I am. This is what I want. Blah, 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 blah. And majority of the time, Brandon takes that in. Majority of the time, I might not like what he, saying, but I have to respect it because at the end of the day, he's a person just like I'm a person, and just like my points are valid, his points are valid as well. That's the part of it.
Give and take.
A whole lot of give and take.
Hmm.
Yes, I had to watch this video. It was a little girl who was saying how children need connecting, talking, playing, and a healthy home and a community. Well, guess what? And it was the thing called serve and return. Well, guess what? I think you need that in a marriage, like in a
Absolutely.
spouse. We have to, what would I say? We have to connect. We have to talk. There should be some playing, some laughter. There should be a healthy home. A healthy home. There's disagreements. But I think there's a lot more laughter than disagreements. And community. What are you doing together to help your community? So serve and return. Oh, that's daggone good. Full circle from that video I had to watch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, hey,
So you act like a spouse.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, hey, I ain't gonna get into it, but I think I think I stand up in my spouse, whatever you want to call it. I think I'm there. I could do better. We could always do better.
That's what, and
But
that's the thing.
it's a process.
Think about what I'm saying. How much grace? 7 years, or going on 8 years. 7 years of me in my brain. I am not serving this man. Like 7 years.
Yeah.
And for it to just change, and for God to talk to me, because that's the only person who is making it clear to me is God. You're doing it. You got it. Because it's like you keep going through the same thing, and finally, eventually, you gonna have to get it right.
You don't have to.
Can't go against the grain forever. And so, but it was just the other day. I'm telling you, what was Thursday? It was Thursday. It clicked, and it was like, that is serving. That is what you should be doing. I was like, oh, sugar ducky quack,
Quack, quack. Straight up.
But yeah.
Hey.
Serve and return, give and take.
All of that.
And before we go in this portion, marriage is not 50-50.
It's 100-100.
I'm going to try and give my all, and there's some days when I will give 80%. There are some days when Brandon might give 20. But that means I'm giving my battery is almost charged, his is not. So we that's the balance.
Feeding off of each other.
That's the balance. Oh, you all right? You good?
Everything good?
You okay?
Yeah.
Marriage is not 50-50.
And that's in all aspects: financial, spiritual, emotional, all of that.
Everything is on you. Because at the end of the day, like I was saying, I am Camille. That is Brandon. We are individuals, but God just happened to bring us together and make this union happen.
Holy matrimony. Huh.
So it is not 50-50. Talking about a 50-50 love.
Huh.
Teddy wasn't right.
Teddy, he out of there.
Teddy
ain't here today.
Don't do that.
But
Don't
yeah.
talk about Teddy.
Teddy.
Anyhow.
Anywho. Yes, goodness. Anyhow, anywho. That was what? Go ahead and say what you gonna say.
That was good.
Yes, it was. Hey, it's all about compromise. It's all about communication. It's all about servitude.
Yes.
So when you decide you want to be a spouse, these are the things that you need to take into account.
Hey.
You feel me? Huh. But now, before we get on up out of here, because that was the end of our topic for today, we're going to go ahead and bust y'all in the head one time. Bip, 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 bip. With on this day in Black History. So we got a good one. It is presented by BET once again. Today is October 11th. So on this day, October 11th, 1970, MC Lyte, the first female rapper to earn a gold single, was born on this day. So let's go ahead and get into it. Like I say, it's brought to you by BET. They continue to bring us that heat on this date. And they gonna have to start sponsoring this
For
thing.
sure, because the way you just
Straight
hit that,
up.
like, what? BT.
Yes, goodness. But all right, let's go ahead and get into it. Standing on her own in a male-dominated business, rapper MC Lyte was one of the first female rappers to point out misogyny and sexism in the hip-hop industry. Born Lena Michelle Moore on October 11, 1970 in Brooklyn, New York, she began rhyming at the age of 17 and will go on to be a pioneer in the feminism and in hip hop. Light recorded her first single, I Crammed to Understand You, in 1986. About a relationship sourced by a crack addiction, it sparked a relationship with Sylvia Rhone and a record deal with First Priority Music. She debuted her first album, Light as a Rock, in 1988, followed by Eyes on This in 1989. Eyes on This spawned her first hit single, Cha Cha Cha, which peaked at #1 on the rap charts, doing her thing. Yeah. But the foundation she created in the 80s led to global recognition in the 90s. In 1993, she released her fourth album, Ain't No Other. The classic featured the single Roughneck, which earned a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Single and turned out to be the first single ever achieved, the first gold single ever achieved by a female rap artist.
Wow.
Man, doing major things. By the mid-90s, she was on a new label, Elektra Asylum, and was working with female artists of the time like Missy Elliott and Escape. She expanded her career beyond the mic, making acting appearances in comedies such as Moesha and In the House and the crime drama New York Undercover. Shout out to New York Undercover. They need to bring that back. They need to bring that back to Netflix or somebody.
Please, I love
Goodness
that
gracious. All right. MC Lyte is more than a rapper, DJ, and an actor. She is also an activist for the Rock the Vote and the founder of Hip Hop Sisters Network, a nonprofit foundation that promotes positive image of women and ethnic diversity while bringing together leaders for the entertainment industry and the corporate world. She was the recipient of the I Am Hip Hop Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2013 Hip Hop Awards in Atlanta on September 28th. And that was our On This Day in Black History. Shout out to MC Lyte doing major things. She does a lot of voiceovers.
Yes, she does.
For the BT, a bunch of different places. So I'm sure you've heard her voice before.
Yeah, I remember.
She has
her
a very distinct voice.
What's that show? Half and Half. She was the boss in the office that they worked in.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Half and Half, she was.
Yeah. So once again, shout out to MC Lyte, a pioneer in the rap game.
Yep.
Yes, goodness. But once again, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for continue to support us. We're going to come and support y'all on what y'all got and continue to come through. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Yes.
Wherever you checking out your platform, your podcast, you can find us there. Is My Point Valley. Go ahead and check us out.
Spotify, Stitcher,
Streaker, Google
Podcasts,
Apple Podcasts, all of them.
All of them, we there.
We there.
Is my
point valid? Yes, indeed. So, y'all continue to have a blessed day. Continue to have a blessed week, and we'll see y'all next Monday or next week, however it come. See y'all later. Bye.
Bye.